So sorry to interrupt What Does Timo Say, one of the best songs that anyone will ever hear, but we are actually ready to get into our next game. So I'm Sona, my co-caster is Eltazar, and we're about to see this game between BJB and TRWPLS.
Yep, ball through, and please stop throwing, please stop throwing. We saw in the last game absolutely, we're not going to say absolutely decimated actually, because it was a fairly close game for the most part, despite kills being an advantage of please stop throwing for the vast majority of the time.
Yeah, they were a very skilled individual team, but their objective control did not match up to the objective control that we saw coming out from the 420 Ham squad, and that's what kept 420 Ham squad in the game for the majority of it. So it'll be interesting to see how they do in this game. Perhaps superior in the laning phase and then inferior in the objective control. Don't want to say any team's inferior, but that's what we've seen from them thus far.
Potentially. First ban comes out, the Shyvana was picked up by both 420 Ham squad in the last game. Didn't do a massive amount, but still a very, very scary champion. We can go over it many a time. Very mobile, can reposition quite quickly thanks to Burnout and Dragon's Descent. And of course does deal a considerable amount of damage with those, especially after using Dragon's Descent, when Burnout does leave a fiery trail on the land which she has been. Orianna, I'm thinking that's a target ban actually. Straight banned out, that may well be targeted towards Rawmix. And yeah, we saw in the last games, Rawmix basically carried the game for his team. He did exceptionally well on that Orianna.
Some amazing Orianna plays. I mean, basically, those two shockwaves won them the game. It was a 3,000 elo Pharrell Lord shockwave right there. And like Team Alternate, they managed to win their game and get into the LCS, which is obviously what the teams are competing for here. Their position in the Sona-sponsored LCS. And of the 3,200 RP and the Triumphant Rise skin that comes with it if you get first place. So, Evelyn, Olaf and Kassadin being banned out. Olaf, do you think that's targeted at last boss?
Almost definitely. He was incredibly strong throughout that last game as well. He went without dying. I think he ended up 4-0-12, if my memory serves correctly. He did very, very well for himself. He was incredibly tanky by the late stages of the game, and he did a great thing in one of the mid-game team fights, completely nullifying the ability that Worstari had on the LeBlanc to shut down Backflip playing that Vayne.
Yeah, superb play by him. Now, I've been looking a little bit through Rawmix's match history, and apart from Orianna, he's been playing a lot of Zed recently, so I've been wondering to see if they do decide to pick up that Zed and maybe base a team composition around it. I probably should have waited for the last couple of seconds to go out here just so that they didn't see BJB picking up that Zed as sort of a counter pick, but it looks like they're going to be going for Shen. Are we all the way back in Season 2 here, Eltazar?
Quite possibly. Nasus not banned out, last boss instantly picking that up. Another champion that he may be very, very comfortable with. Another very, very tanky champion, and of course, stacks out so hard. We see Rawmix hovering over the Heimerdinger, and to no one's great surprise, he jumps away from that. And, ooh.
If he picks Zed, I'm just saying, if he picks Zed, Sona best predictor caster EU West, like, 100% prediction ratio. Only because I've only made one prediction, and it's because I looked at his previous match history. But last boss there on the Nasus, playing the Doge, such Q stack, much wow. Going to be doing a huge amount of Siphoning Strike damage in the later stages of the game, and we saw how good he is at farming in that top lane. If he can do that for this game, that's going to be interesting.
Jumping between Katarina and Zed, 4 seconds remain. It does look like I think he is going to go for that Zed pick. 100% prediction record for the Sona. There we go. Yona98 now jumping towards the Aatrox, which is a very, very interesting pickup. Very tanky in the later stages of the game. Also has very high damage thanks to that Massacre ultimate. Gives him increased attack range and attack speed. Very, very strong to have. And as well, very sustainable team we see as well. Bloodwell coming out from the Aatrox. The intervention ultimate of Kale as well, making someone completely immune to damage for up to 3 seconds. It starts at 2, but it goes up to 3 seconds as you level it. And this might be a complete composition just to shut down Rawmix.
Yeah, if you can't use that death mark effectively, a lot of Zed's ability to melt melt champions and get rid of them from the team fights gets removed. And I expect to see Zed going very aggressive pre-level 6 in this mid lane if the Kale's locked in. But Kale, Righteous Fury, giving you that range and this splash damage as well. It's going to be very, very difficult for Rawmix to get anything out of that lane.
No, it will not. BJB looked like going on a slightly different tack from last game if he had gone for that Lee Sin. Currently hovering over Tarek, but that may well be a pick for Genius Genie on that support. Backflip hovering over Scion, but I find that a very unlikely pick, especially in the AD carry role. There's Severe. We have seen Severe suffer quite a few nerfs since she was reworked, but still very strong. And who knows, we might see some festive spirit with the Snowstorm Severe come out.
Yeah, still some of the highest win ratios in League of Legends at the moment. I mean, I think it's 56%. I might be wrong there. I might be 54, but Civ is still one of the highest win rate AD carries. That on the hunt ultimate, helping your team so much, whether you're running away or you're chasing the opposing team. And the Boomerang Blade does chunks of health, killing anyone in its path exceptionally quickly. So with a spell shield against that Thresh, it's going to be a difficult lane here for BJB.
Yeah, we do indeed see BJB go on a slightly different tack to last game. We saw him play Jarvan last game to fairly good effect, very, very tanky. Didn't get a massive amount of kills, to no one's great surprise, but very good CC presence. Here, though, we see him picking up the Lee Sin, a very, very, very potent early game assassin jungler, and can be built to be very tanky in the later stages as well. Insect combos always a massive threat throughout the game.
That they are, and I'm gonna make another prediction and probably ruin my 100% prediction ratio, but I'm expecting to see Genius Genie pick a tanky support here. In fact, either Tarek or Leona are my two choices. Am I allowed two? Is that too many? I mean, there are lots of support picks.
I think we can let you get away with two, potentially.
Okay, so either Tarek or Leona, because Nasus is your top lane tank. Lee Sin's he will be build tanky as he progresses throughout the game, but he wants to get a bit of early damage. So I expect to see Genius Genie. Oh, Alistar. Oh, I forgot about Alistar. Oh, see, he's really tanky. And that's exactly what you want. Because if you get hooked by the Thresh, you just go in. You just man up, man. You are a bull. You take them by their horns, and you decimate them with that headbutt and pulverize combination. Support Malphite is probably not going to be picked up, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Alistar, Tarek, or Leona here.
Yeah, it does seem to be hovering over that. Tarek, very potent considering the Season 4 change is very, very strong considering how much armor he gets passively from his Shatter, and also how much he gives to his allies through its aura as well. I may as well just be quiet and wait while Genius Genie just skips between champions, because it's not going to be a Mordekaiser support. And there you go, he jumps to the Leona. We did see him play Leona in the... But you know, we did not see him play Leona in the last game. He was playing Thresh last game.
100% prediction ratio. 100%.
I might count it as 80. I might count it as 87 since you did have those two choices, but I did say I'd let you get away with that. So. Ladies and gentlemen, Sona, 100% win ratio, best prediction EU, etc., etc. Much prediction, very well.
Okay, well, we are into the delay here, 40 seconds before we get into our 3-minute spectator delay, and these two team compositions have shaped up really, really excitingly and exhilaratingly. Is that a word, exhilaratingly? Yes, it is. As you said, we have the festive sort of side of things coming out with that Sivir, hopefully going for that Snowstorm Sivir. I know that you're wearing your Christmassy elf hat for us today, Altazar. I wish we could see it. It would make me so happy.
I have the properly traditional Santa hat, actually. It's green. Because Santa was originally green. I don't know if how many people are aware of that, but yes. I think it's a bad idea if people saw it, because they would go blind from overexposure to pure awesomeness.
That is a dangerous thing. See, that's one of the reasons I can't look in the mirror each day, Altazar, because I get up and I almost glance myself in the mirror and I have to shield my eyes, because it's just a dangerous, dangerous thing. Too much pure awesome can blind you really, really easily. I say that as a medical student as well. Be careful around pure awesome, guys.
Interesting how that doesn't happen around Barney Stinson, but maybe that's just because it's a TV show.
No, it's because he's legendary.
Oh, he's legendary, awesome. Not awesome. Okay. Does overexposure to pure legendariness actually have an effect?
Well, you tend to end up sort of sprawled in a ditch somewhere after with quite a big hangover, but It's usually quite nice.
Fair enough. After that slight tack to something completely ridiculous, we should probably go over the compositions. In the top lane, we're going to see an engagement between Kanex and Lars Boss. I'm tempted to say that's not going to be a very action-packed one. We're going to see the Nasus farming out like a boss. Both of them have the teleports, though, which means that Kanex and Lars Boss could very easily engage on the bottom lane. Of course, Kanex doesn't necessarily need it because of the Stand United, and there is no way that Lars Boss has to stop Stand United from actually going down, apart from teleporting in as well.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see if he does decide to do that, or if he says, screw my teammates, they are on their own, I'm going to farm up my Cycling Strike and just get to that sort of late game carry Nasus status you can when you have all 5 levels on your Cycling Strike and all 5 levels on your Wither as well. And there's always that choice as Nasus as to whether you decide to sacrifice Cycling Strike farm to help out your team, or if you say, yes, we'll lose a turret, but I now have 500 stacks on my queue and can melt anyone I want to.
It really depends on how much it really is going to affect him, because this is, of course, a much more team-oriented game. This is not solo queue. This is 2 teams of 5 players who must coordinate if they want to win. They can't really go off individual merit. The simple fact that Please Stop Throwing won the last game was that the combination between Rawmix and Bilic was so good that they were able to win team fights around that. And I'm not sure if that's going to be able to have the same effect in this game. The combinations of Zed aren't as strong as they would be in the last game.
Especially against a Kayle. Like, Kayle and Lulu are the 2 main counters to Zed, I think. A Wild Growth, well-timed, can stop a Deathmark pot killing someone, and that intervention as well coming out from Kayle. It's just going to make it very, very difficult for Zed to pick up anyone. He needs to be out of range of that ultimate coming out from Kayle, and that it has a huge range. It's about 1,500, I do believe, on that ultimate. Going to make it very, very difficult for him to do anything. We are just about to get into the loading screen, guys. I'm going to put up our other overlay. The game has begun, but I realise the time is 0. But just believe me that the game has begun, and we're just waiting to get in.
There is no duplicity here.
But there are 2 of us. Isn't that duplicity?
I don't think so. Duplicity is a completely different word. It evades me as to what it means, but I cannot remember what it means. All I know is that I learned that word from playing Spyro 3.
Oh, Spyro 3 was one of the best games of my childhood. That and Crash Bandicoot sustained me through hours of non-League related gaming.
Well, considering that was at least 10 plus years ago.
You calling me old,
I feel old now.
You calling me old?
I'm pretty old. That makes me feel old.
Yeah, you're really old.
I don't know how much younger than you I am, but
well,
it makes me feel old. 10 years ago when I seriously was playing Spyro 3. That was a great game. Bentley the Yeti.
It was
Upper
a
class
great
Yeti
game.
OP.
Yeah. Just quickly before we get into the game, guys, just a couple of shout-outs for our sponsors. This is a European Gaming League endorsed and sponsored tournament, League of Legends Championship, Summoner Shield number 17. I'm Sona. You can follow me on Twitter at TheOnlySona, and my co-caster is Eltazar. You can follow him on Twitter at Eltazar. The EGL's Twitter is at EGL, and if you want to join in more tournaments, there are links on our home screen, which I just showed you, and also you can find them at the EGL and /EGL Pro on YouTube. So we are into this game. Looks like there are a bunch of pingers coming out towards this bottom lane bush here. Do you think we're going to see an invade, Altazar?
I certainly hope so, Sona. But only time will tell as we do see the members of BJB head in that direction. Just going to sort out or assure that champion arrangements are good. Yes, they are. And in we go. 50 seconds already down. It's quite similar to last game, actually. We do see Yoda 98 and his teammates hanging around near his red buff. Very likely that's going to be his first pickup. But Kanex is also sat there as a little bit of a scout. Not sure if he actually sees Village over there. No, he does not. But unlikely that an engagement is probably going to happen just yet.
I've just realised how much of the BJB team is similar or exactly the same as the Please Stop Throwing team from the last game. Thresh, Vayne, and Jarvan picked up by then, and it looks like we might have a 2v1 lane here against Lars Bozes at Nasus in top lane.
That's a very, very shrewd idea. Idealism, I would say, coming out from BJB. If you can shut down Nasus in the early game, he cannot reach that tanky, high damage boss, basically, that is present in the late game. So, if they can take advantages early, then they are surely going to have a much bigger advantage in team fights later on. KNX, they're going to have to rely on him to just survive in this bottom lane. Against Leona, that's actually not too difficult. Leona is one of the weakest supports you can pick up against in a 2v1 situation, because all of her abilities are melee range or provide her an ability to get into melee range.
Yeah, it's all about being able to melt people down as Leona, and we actually see Shen taking away a bit of this experience from the double golems, gonna get him almost halfway to level 2 already, and coming into this lane as Sivir and Leona pushing it up towards his tower. Warmix is already taking a lot of damage in this mid lane, down to almost half health. Gonna be struggling to keep himself alive versus the... I've totally forgotten the name of Kael's Q, but versus Kael in the middle lane. Gonna make her very, very difficult to beat.
He is very, very strong in the early stages of the game. Apologies, the dog broke into the room in which I was casting, so I had to remove him.
That is, yeah, it's a dangerous thing to have in your room while you're casting, is a dog. Nasus being the dog in the top lane, being the Doge in the top area of this map. We see Lee Sin coming around just to be a bit defensive, landing that Sonic Wave, going in with a Resonating Strike as well, but going to have to back away. Nice safeguard away from the pull coming in from Thresh, going to keep himself alive. And these lanes have sort of settled out. Shen doing a superb job of CSing it in the bottom lane. 10 CS on him already. Going to get that Siege minion as well. That's a huge thing to get. And he hasn't had to have his jungler support him at all, which means Jarvan can come up towards this top lane and put some pressure down 3v2.
Yeah, dive's very unlikely this early in the game, of course, but pressure is key in this early stage of the game. As we
so beautiful Shadow Dash here onto Leona. She has to flash away. KNX making the big plays in the bottom lane, just getting that Leona caught under the turret and burning a summon spell really quickly.
And that is why Shen is one of the strongest 2v1 champions in the game. You bring the enemy close to your turret and then say, LOL, sucks to be you, when that Shadow Dash brings on the turret aggro. And it does force a really big change in the tempo of the lane, especially if multiple hits are landed.
Yeah, 2 turret hits going down onto Leona there, making it very difficult for her to stay in the lane. And she's used those health pots to sustain herself up, and with the Ancient Coin is going to be getting some health regeneration there as well. But going to be difficult for them to actually do anything here, because you can't have the sort of Zenith Blade Shielded Daybreak combination under turret anymore. You can't tower dive because Leona will just die.
Yes, she will. Billich once again coming into the top lane. Lars was being shut down horrifically. He only has...
Oh, Leona getting Shadow Dashed again. Is it going to be enough? Not quite. If he had Ignite, he'd be able to get this. He's chasing for it. Flashes in. Whirlpool Strike. Shielded Daybreak. First Blood. The exhaust has gone down though, and this might be a kill for Sivir here. Can she put a ward down? No, nice dodge. Spell Shield coming out. KNX is going to have Shadow Dash up any second. He has it up. He's not using it. Why aren't you using it, KNX? Oh, they get the kill. Jarvan coming in. Jumping onto backflip. Why did he not Shadow Dash? Maybe he didn't have the energy. Didn't see his energy. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Didn't have the energy for it.
If he had, that would have been an amazing first blood, but that it's still first blood in a 2v1 situation, so very well played to KNX. Yes, that's a kill on the enemy AD carry, but the simple fact is that Day and Marley in the top lane is currently doing quite well on CS, does have a slight advantage on backflip. Speaking of which, backflip flashes over the wall as KNX teleported back into a ward in that bottom brush. That does mean, however, he can get back to farming nice and quickly and maintain that advantage that he already has over Lars Boss in that top lane.
Really interesting build he's gone for here as well. He is paying Doran his monthly wages, double Doran's Blade, Doran's Shield combination. So he's obviously trying to get some extra damage down, helps him farm under the tower as well, and keeps him sustained up with that extra life regeneration on hit. It's not life steal as such, but you do get a bit of health back each time you auto attack a minion. Or champion, or anything. Auto attacks. Oh, Zed's going to go in here on mid lane, and there's a flash away. Nice Sonic Wave actually hitting there onto Kael. but she is going to be nice and safe, does have that intervention up, so could keep herself alive if he wants to.
Yeah, we now do see some turret damage going down in the top lane. Vi and Damian Marley going to deal some considerable damage. And as I said before, Losbos is being shut down horribly. He is nowhere near as farmed as he could be at this stage.
Yeah, really nice lane swap. Also, we've talked about how much it shuts down Losbos, but Vayne gets to that hyper carry stage so much quicker with this free farm. 52 CS on her at the moment, the most in the game. And Siv's not quite keeping up. Yes, she got that kill. Shen hitting 6 now has got the stand united, so we'll be able to join in fights on other areas of the map. And they have a bit of shutdown for it. If you get a Zenith Blade or a Shield of Daybreak onto that Shen, going to stop him from being able to get away, but still give someone the shield, and that's going to be really helpful in tower dives.
Village once again coming in towards this middle lane. Don't know if an engagement's going to go down. Yes, it is.
Yeah, they've got onto it. Nice death mark, and here comes the intervention any second now. There it is. Flash is not available, though. And there's the ignite. Ooh, flash in by Wilmix. Not quite needed, but just wanted to secure that kill. And it actually goes across to Bilic.
Blind Monk not quite seeing that one, I would say. But it is a very nice kill picked up. Evens out the gold very nicely and does put a slight kill lead in favour of Please Stop Throwing. Meanwhile, that bottom tower is getting very, very low. Kenix has to do something about it. Then as the taunt.
Yeah, nice Shadow Dash on to backflip, taking him down to about half health, but he's got that Vampiric Scepter and he's got health potions at the moment, so he'll be able to sustain himself up a little bit. Interesting to see that Leona's actually hit 6 before her AD carry here. Can't be much more than a couple of minions before backflip gets there, though.
No, that should be the one just there. There it is.
And on the hunt and solar flare, it's going to be an interesting combination now in this bottom lane, because Shen has shown how good he is with that Shadow Dash. Jarvan coming in from the side, using that sweeping lens, which he picked up really early, his first trinket to make sure that he can clear out wards. And if you're playing against a 2v1 lane, or as a 2v1 lane, you want that sweeping lens just to be able to deny as much vision as possible.
Bit of a communication mess up actually. Both Genius and Backflip placed their totem wards in that tribe rush, so now it is super warded.
Oh, here comes Leona, and there is Jonah. He's going to jump in. Nice Cataclysm, locking her up even though she's spell shielded. Oh, there's the Shadow Dash as well. Solar Play. Backflip uses barrier and on the hunt to escape. Whoa, we talked about the combination of ultimates, and that proves it right there.
Yeah, very nice Cataclysm as well from Jonah98 and allowed the combination with the Shadow Dash and forcing both ultimates to be burned. Only one burned, of course, by the members of Borkiul Brew at this stage. And it's pretty much all reset. Kanex is going to return to his base. He does have a nice little 1,100 gold, which means he could pick up something like a Giant's Belt.
That he could. I mean, it's going to be... Well, he picks up a Giant's Belt. 100% predictions for you as well, lads. Well done with that one. Exactly what he decides to get. We see Jarvan is obviously going for that Spirit of the Ancient Golem item. Got that Ruby Crystal, which is built into the Kindle Gem, and the Spirit Stone as well. So going to be getting that one up as soon as possible. Bit of tenacity, bit of health and health regeneration as well. And the extra damage to minions. Monsters, sorry. Not minions because they're in the jungle. Extra damage to monsters. Going to give him that little bit of extra sustain in the jungle and ability to sort of sustain up through the damage coming out here from Please Stop Throwing.
Yeah, we do see the lane swap coming back round again. First turret did go down in that top lane. We did see Damian Marley and the Vi pick that up. They backed out and they've got some very nice items right now. Vi got the Sightstone and the Nomad's Medallion, and Damian Marley has already got his Bilgewater Cutlass. And just before 10 minutes he picked that up. That is very, very nice. And if they can keep Backflip and Genius off their turret, they can quite easily push this out in the later stages, and they do currently hold an advantage.
Yeah, Losbos is still yet to go back, using that inherent solely to passive to sustain himself up through all of the ganks and all of the damage that he's had to take. But now that Kanex is here, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do decide to do, because we see a little bit of pinging coming out actually in the middle of the map. Kanex has the stand united up, Lee Sin coming across on that, Abilix over there as well, placing the ward. We see Jarvan and Kale coming towards mid lane, going to try and go in on Warmix, but not quite able to get that one off. One thing I wanted to mention, you said that the Vi had picked up this Sightstone, and Sightstone is a great item, and you can upgrade it to Ruby Sightstone for a bit of extra health and the sort of longevity of your warding ability as well, because you get that extra ward. The main thing about it, however, is I think as soon as you pick up a warding totem, as soon as you pick up a Sightstone as a support, you should switch your warding totem out straight away, because you can put 3 wards down. Solar Flare actually coming down on Dragon. Lee Sin steals that one away. Beautiful Cataclysm coming out. The Vi is getting knocked up. Vayne is pounding away on everyone. Intervention coming out on the Vi. Rawmist is getting taken very low. He's going to go down. Actually targeting Genius Genie. Oh, the Boomerang Blade just missing there. Genius Genie is going to go down. No, flashes across the wall. Double flash to follow her up. That's the judgment coming down on her face. Lee Sin going in onto the Vi. Is he going to be able to get it? He flashes across the death sentence, but he gets locked up anyway. Nicely done. A 3-4-0 exchange there. They did lose the dragon, however.
That said, they currently now hold 1,500 gold advantage, which is very, very good at this stage in the game. Also, they have the key to pushing now. Damian Marley and the Luix in that middle lane can now push down that tower. Romix is not going to be here for a good 30 seconds as of yet. Also, we do see Yona and Kanex pushing out that bottom lane. They aren't going to actually go onto the tower, but a nice amount of pushing goes down there.
Yeah, Damian Marley being able to pick up a kill as Vayne in that fight puts her in a superior position to her lane opponent now. 1,200 gold that she is sitting on, almost enough to upgrade that Bilgewater Cutlass into the Blade of the Ruling King. Look at the damage onto Rawmix there, half of his health just chunked away, and shows how confident this BJB team is feeling, that they can just do what they want. Even a mid laner who's meant to be able to burst down that AD carry is getting locked away.
Yes, indeed. Vi getting pushed again on this bottom turret. But Damian Marley comes in and gets engaged instantly, though.
Yeah, lots of damage coming down into Damian Marley. The Solar Flare was up. They decided not to go for it. Not quite sure if that was just fear of the Vi or fear of Jarvan, who was hovering around the area as well. You don't want to engage when you could get ganked any moment.
Speaking of which, Village heading down the river. There is no real ward coverage until that first river brush. And we do see him heading his way around. He may very well want to get in for a gank at this point.
It's a bit given away by the positioning here of Genius Genie, though. A lot of this game she's been in this bottom bush, hanging around, trying to position herself well enough. But now, because she's standing close to that sidewall, they know that Genius Genie is going to try and come across. Sweeping lanes used there by... they know that Lee Sin's going to try and come across. Sweeping lane used by Jarvan, just scout out that bush, and he has come into this lane now. There is a ward that is spotting him out. They're going to try and push for this tower. It's still quite high health, though, and it's going to be difficult for them to take this one down.
Meanwhile, in the top lane, we do see Losbo starting to be able to farm up his Q quite nicely now. He has 144 stacks on it. We also see Kanex backing out. He's got a good portion of gold, just over 1,000 on him. That's more than likely going to be for that Sunfire Cape. There it is.
You and your predictions. There's a bit of an engaged side coming here onto Thresh. The Spell Shield, the On the Hunt, the Lee Sin, the box. Is it going to be enough? I don't think it is. Yes, Zenith's Blade. Here comes Sivir. Boomerang Blade picks up the kill. They're going to try and engage on Damian Marley, deciding not to go in for that one. Safeguard coming out onto the Leona. Backing away, all on full health. Jarvan has come around. They've used a couple of ultimates there, but Solar Flare is still up, and that's going to be dangerous if Jarvan decides to try and fight this one.
I think that's pretty
they're going to engage. They're going to engage there onto the Leona. The Stand United's coming as well. Cataclysm locking up backflip. Leona's going to try and jump away. There's the Shadow Dash. Beautiful flash Shadow Dash there by Kanex, picking up that one. And Kale is coming round the side. They're going to keep engaging this one. They have to go in. Spell Shield. Nice Sonic Wave. Here comes Kale. There is judgment from above from this Kale. Divine Intervention. Oh, sorry, not Divine Intervention. Righteous Fury getting that kill. Lee Sin is trying to stand around, but this Shen is a tanky man. The intervention coming out onto him sustains him up through the turret damage, and that's 2 kills picked up there, 3 kills, sorry, in exchange for only 1 on Thresh.
Meanwhile, on the top lane, Losbo's doing, as you said, oh, my teammates are in trouble. Never mind, I'll just take the turret.
He does pick up 250 gold from that one, and he actually is now ahead of Shen in CS. Shen has done a lot more in the sort of team, the global game, 1-1-5, as opposed to the 0-0-0 of Nasus. But he has got the Spectre's Cowl, has also got that start of the Iceborne Gauntlet as well, so he's going to be building into that probably. He's got his Spirit Visage, that superbly aligns with his passive, solely to giving you that extra lifesteal. Spirit Visage giving you 20% of that again. Really, really nice idea on Nasus to get that item.
Yeah, we do see the Vi currently sat near his blue buff. I think he's mainly scouting that out. More than likely going to go over to the Luix on Kale, reducing the cooldowns. It was actually nerfed in the 3.14 pre-season to only give 10% cooldown reduction, but the mana regeneration is very good on any mana-based champion, especially someone like Kale, as it means that they can keep Righteous Fury up all day long.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we've talked about a lot about this Kale is the fact that she can intervention to counteract that death mark and to counteract a lot of the damage coming out here from the Please Stop Throwing team. We haven't talked about her as a champion in and of herself. If you get to 6 items on Kale, you are going to melt people. Engage Warmix. Look at the damage, and he gets taken down by the Vayne. 3-0-4 now. That was a beautiful death sentence. Warmix obviously thought it wasn't going to hit, decided not to dodge away, and then flashed after he got hit with it, so not going to be able to get away from that one. Nicely done by this Vi. The Vi.
Oh.
Not this Vi. It's not Vi.
Vi almost landing another death sentence on
Genius,
the back.
Genie getting taken really low. Condemn actually missing the turret there, not quite able to get her down. Cypher interrupting you. I keep handing off to you, Altazar, and then realising there's more fighting.
Actually, that was a very, very good flash by Genius.
Ooh, they're going into the back line, but here's Nasus. Jonah getting taken really low. Intervention coming down on him. Backflip gets melted down. Billet going really low as well. Nasus is in the mid line. Vayne is trying to get onto it. Is she going to be enough? No, she has to flash away. Down to so little health. Kale is tanking up the turret. She flashes away as well. Kanix is still there. But here comes Warmix. Are you going to be able to do anything here, Zed? No. The Wither coming down onto Kanix. Going to make her back away. Nice living shadow in there by Warmix. Doesn't have the flash up anymore. And Vayne and Kale backing away so sneakily in these bushes up at the top.
That would have been devastating had Warmix been able to get into Damian Marley. The intervention was not up, and that would have been a very, very dead Vayne. And Warmix doesn't have any kills as of yet, and he really does need that to start rolling in again. He's very similar to some of his AP counterparts like Caston and Fizz. You do need 1 or 2 kills to become really, really threatening in a game, and then you can roam across the map without any difficulty. Meanwhile, we do actually see Kanex teleporting in to interrupt a dragon attempt.
Yeah, really nicely done. Really nicely done. Just threaten them off there. Managed to keep the dragon aggro as well, so they can take it really quickly. And Jarvan came across as well. His teammates were there. Wow! Wow, the Luke's melting people there as Kale takes Sivir out in just a couple of attacks. That Sheen, Sorceress, Boots combination doing work, and it's going to go across it onto Billix as well. Look at that, so much from one judgment, and Billix has to flash away. There's the death mark onto the Vi. That's not the target you want. Oh, the death sentence was beautiful. Vayne picking up the kill on Leona at the same time, and this looks like it's snowballing out of control for Please Stop Throwing.
Yeah, Yulbur are doing incredibly well right now. The Luix absolutely dominating right now. 6-1 and 3 quite literally. 4-0-5 as well on that Vayne, stacking out so very quickly. 3:20 minutes and she's almost already got enough for that Phantom Dancer. The game is snowballing very quickly.
That it is. Lars Bros, however, perhaps the final hope for his team. 240 odd stacks on that Cycling Strike, and he's going to need to do work if he's able to get any kills and help his team out at all here. Village has built into that tanky spit of the Itch and Golem, has got mobility boots as well now, but mobility boots aren't going to help you if you're just dying to a Kale.
Very true. Damian Marley trying to act as maybe a little bit of a...
Oh, he's got it! He's got it! Cataclysm Village stand united! Oh, the baits are so strong with this team! BJB playing that one to perfection, going to try and go in onto Genius Uni. They decide against it, and that's another turret for them. 5 turrets to 2 in the lead now, Altazar.
Yeah, brilliant 5-man push and an amazing bait play by Damian Marley right there. Doing extremely well.
Oh, the flash shadow dash, they're going to go in onto backflip. He uses on the hunt, he might be able to get away. He does. Night Hunter passive from Vayne, not quite enough there, but they get an inhibitor turret. And they're going to go in onto Genius Junior. He gets melted away. There's a turret, a kill, and an inhibitor for nothing being picked up here by Zed and Nasus, who have decided to split push.
That's just not the right idea right now. They are currently 9 kills down, 11 actually, and they're 6-3 in turrets. And they've just lost an inhibitor. Yes, they're going to pick up 2 inner turrets, but when you're already an inhibitor down, that's almost a consolation prize.
That it is. I mean, Nasus, we keep saying he's the... Well, I keep saying he's the final hope for this team, and he really, really is. He's got a Warden's Mail, probably building that into a Randuin's, and it's going to be so difficult for him to do anything with the fed components of the enemy team. Nasus gets melted by a fed Vayne. Phantom Dancer got that pickaxe as well, maybe going into a Last Whisper or an Infinity Edge. I'd expect a Last Whisper with the amount of armor coming out here from the opposing team, but it's going to be so difficult for them to shut down that Vayne, even with a skill like Wither.
Definitely, I'm expecting a later pickup of something like Mercurial Scimitar just to try and cleanse off a Wither, because if it does land on Damian Marley, then Vayne's damage is going to be horribly reduced.
That is actually a Frozen Heart being picked up here by Nasus, an item we don't commonly see, but very well decided upon for this game. Kaele's attack speed and Vayne's attack speed are one of the main bases for the BJB composition, and so by reducing everyone's attack speed in an AoE around you, it's going to make it a lot more difficult for them to melt you down.
It looks like BJB may be hovering towards the Baron. They're actually going to go for a little bit of warding, but Yoda walking over two separate wards. In they go now though, but I'm almost certain that the members of Please Stop Throwing are fully aware of what's happening. Kane's coming around the side, but I'm not really sure what he can achieve at this point. The game goes down actually.
Yeah, Billich has gone into this, the death mark is being pulled on him. He uses that Dragon's Edge to try and kick people away. Kaele is tanking up the Baron here. Oh, the steal! Oh my goodness gracious! Billich picks up the steal. I went very loud there. Genius getting engaged upon. It might be enough for them to still win this fight. Gets the kill. Double kill there for Vayne. It's two people down. Zed is split pushing, but that Baron was picked up there by Billich with a beautiful Sonic Wave Resonating Strike combination and the smite. I'm still amazed by that play.
Amazing play, but nowhere near enough. No member of the team of BJB actually fell in that fight, and they are pushing down this inhibitor very, very quickly. Two members there, but there's just nothing they can do at this stage. The Lurix has gone back. Rolling's going to have to stop split pushing.
Yeah, and that's two inhibitors down, as you say. It's going to be very difficult for them to come back from that. The only positive that they get from that Deathmark actually going down here on... Wow, what's that? Yeah. Sorry, like, it's just like... The death mark went down, and then there was the Stand United shield, and then there was the intervention, and it's like, well, I actually gained life through your ultimate, so have fun with that, really. It's very difficult for Zed to do anything now. Still now 0-4-1, and as I was saying, the only benefit that comes from these inhibitors being down is the fact that the lanes will be pushed. They have Baron, so they know that's not an objective at the moment, and they can CS and try and get to those 6-item builds that they really need to win this game.
Yeah, but more and more, it just does look like the game is snowballing away from them. The gold lead is now, in this game, more than it was throughout the entirety of the last game. It's almost 8,000 in advantage of Borgil Brew, and they have a 3-turret advantage at 24 minutes. 30 seconds until the dragon respawns, but I'm not sure if any people are actually going to really care about it that much.
They probably aren't, in all honesty, and I've just looked at the time of the game. We're 24 minutes in. 24, that's like, to have two inhibitors down by this stage of the game is insane for this BJB team. They have played absolutely amazingly, and I want to give a lot of credit to Kanex, because the fact that he survived the 2v1 lane really well, and his Stand United have been on point. I mean, Vayne and Kaele are obviously the most fed people in the game, and they've been playing very well as well, but Kaele does kind of counter out Zed, and Vayne in the 2v1 was able to farm up really nicely anyway, so it wasn't hard for them to play as well as they had. I think Kanex has done a superb job playing that tank and actually being able to deal with the 2v1. Looks like we might have a bit of an engage here. Zed is actually being jumped on by Shen, and there's a fight across to the side. Kaele goes really low, the intervention coming out. Vayne is quite low as well. Here comes Nasus, the Wither has gone down on Damian Marley. There's the solo player as well. He's invisible at the moment. You can't go in. Cataclysm. Damian Marley's going to get Cataclysmed actually into the rest of the team there. Here comes Sivir around the side. Looks like Jarvan's going to go down. Double kill for Nasus. Shen had to go up to this top side of the fight. He is going to get caught out here a little bit by Sivir. There's the Boomerang Blade. Zed is here. He goes on the buy. He's going to pick up that kill. Kaele is really low. Boomerang Blade would be enough to take her out. Kane's getting taken really low here. The Ignite is ticking on him. Is it going to be enough? Last burst, the Flash. Is it enough? I don't know. Yes, he's on 50 health. Nasus is actually going to back away to try and defend away from this. Zed is trying to chase this Kaele, but he uses that Divine Blessing, manages to escape. Shen is still running away. Leona and Lee Sin are taking away the minions at the base, and they might be able to keep this one alive. They do manage to save that Nexus turret just about. No, they don't! They left the super minion attacking it! Oh, the mistakes were made.
Oh dear, indeed. Very good fight for the members of Please Stop Throwing, but more and more they are throwing. In that fight, it was basically a matter of delaying for time for BJB. They were just letting their minions push into the base, and they've got a Nexus turret now. 9 for 4, the turret advantage. And the Gold Leaf, although not as much as it was, it's still almost 6,000 in advantage. The Dragon is live, and we do actually see BJB going for it now.
Yeah, it should be a nice, easy Baron for them to pick, Dragon for them to pick up. Baron will be coming up relatively soon as well, about 3 minutes on that one, I think. Not sure if I got my timer 100% correct there, but I mean, it's Nasus has got 2 kills now. He's got his Sheen, he's got his Merc Tread. Zed is gonna back away. Is it gonna be enough? It is enough. Just about escapes from that one. Very, very close for them there, but. These fights are exciting, to say the least. They are a lot closer than I'd expect them to be, really, Altazar.
Well, the fact was that the earlier fights went in BJB's favour so much because Wildburst just wasn't there. And now he has 300 plus stacks on Siphoning Strike. He has that Frozen Heart to shut down the enemy attack speed. He has that Spirit Visage to stack with his Soul Eater passive. And when he comes into a fight, he has a massive effect. We saw him kill Damian Marley thanks to the misplay made by Yona to keep him stuck within the Cataclysm. And there's just a completely different dynamic to team fights. As you said, now 2 minutes before Baron comes back up, but the inhibitor falls once again.
Yeah, 3 inhibitors being picked up here. The Please Stop Throwing team need to decide, do they want to fight these? Because if they do, they really need to be going in before the inhibitors on half health. Like, it's just a bit dangerous for them to be waiting that long. And now that that bot lane inhibitor's down, yes, it's only down for 4 minutes because of the recent patch changes, but it still means that Baron will be up for 2 minutes without them having that inhibitor, and the super minions are going to be pushing in that lane. Shen is going to tank this one up. Oh, he gets the Shadow Dash. Are they going to go into backflip? They do. They've engaged on it. That's on the Hunt is out. Deathmark going on to Vayne, but he gets intervention. The Stand United coming out as well. But the Vi is getting caught out. Cataclysm. Last boss gets taken out, and that is huge for this fight. Vayne is still alive. Backflip is going to get melted. Java going in as well. Backflip gets taken out. Does he? Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. But here's the Leona. Going to go on to him. This should be the game. Nexus Tower getting pounded upon. 3-4-0. Backflip is still alive, as is Genius Genie. Can they do anything? I think not. Not quite enough damage coming out from them. The hook just missing. And there is the Nexus for BJB. Superbly played by them there, Altazar.
Incredibly well played by BJB, who now advance to the final of the EGL Summoner Shield number 17. 42 seconds before the Baron comes up, but quite clearly not necessary. And linchpin of that last fight, last boss fell without killing anybody. Damian Marley survived because he wasn't trapped inside Cataclysm this time. The Luick survived Billick pounding on him thanks to some great cooperation and great attention paid by Yona 98, and the game was closed out from there.
Yes, superb play by the entire BJB team, really. Not one of their members was a weak link for the entire things. Like, even Thresh, I know, like, say, even the support, but some of his death sentences set up those early kills. His boxes were well positioned. Isolating people from the fight as well meant it was very difficult for Please Stop Throwing to be able to do anything about it. They will be going into our 3rd place playoff, competing for 1,600 RP if they get 3rd and 800 RP if they get 4th. The final is coming up very soon. BJB will be playing in that, competing for those 3,200 RP each and the Triumphant Rise skin. We'll be right back. I've been Sona, and my co-caster today has been Altazar. You can follow us both on Twitter @TheOnlySona and @Altazar. Is there anything you want to say before we go to a little break here, LT? LT? That's your new name, LT.
Great, I have a pet name now. The cast of the night, I may as well say, have a good evening and Merry Christmas to one and all.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
We'll go with that.
Well, we'll see you back here, Altazar, next week for some more EGL casting. Guys, I've been Sona, and as I said, it's been Altazar. This has been the Summoner's Shield number 17 semi-finals, sorry. We'll be back with the finals very shortly, so stay tuned.